momentarily, and the countdown.
Boy, oh boy, we got a show for y'all today. Welcome to episode 7 of Sports4U Wrestling. I am your host. They call me Trail. To the left, right there is my homie John. And today, it's a momentous occasion for us. 6 episodes in, we've always touched on the state of women's wrestling just a little bit from AEW, WWE, TNA, NXT, all that stuff. But we never dive into the state of the women's division. And to be honest, we're proud, strong men, but there's no way we can talk about the women's division without hearing it from the voices that matter in the IWC and the podcasting world, and that would be the ladies. So everyone help me, help us welcome in Haley from Texas by way of San Antonio, a Californian at heart, just like me as a Texan at heart, representing the holyshhh podcast. We have Miinx Mayhem. Miinx, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here.
And last and definitely not least, we have a person that's very talented, very knowledgeable. She's the writer. She's the writer for Wrestling's Republic. Let's give a warm Sports4U Wrestling podcast welcome to the one and only Megan Ambers. Megan, how are you? Welcome to the
Hi.
show.
Hi. Thank you for inviting me. I've watched y'all podcast episodes, and when I was asked to be a part of it, I just knew like that was something that I wanted to do, and I'm just happy to have finally met all three of you, and to talk about something that means a lot to me, and that is women wrestling. So I'm
Huh.
excited.
We can all agree on that. John, how's everything on your end, my brother? How's it going? How's your week been? How's it being a wrestling fan these past couple of days?
It's been interesting. It's been interesting. I'm feeling good. Obviously, everything is lovely here on the West right now. Glad to have a fellow East Sider with me. It makes it. I just always, bias always to the East Side. I always tell y'all can't spell the West without the ES, and it means knows. You know what that means. You know what that means. So
Yeah.
this is good. And Meg, BX, and talking. I've watched her pod. Obviously, I watched a lot of episodes with them and with her and the fellas, and I'm just glad to be here. And obviously, we got to talk about the state of women's wrestling because it's a lot going on right now. And Trail had this
Yeah,
vision to get this conversation rolling, and better way to ask is from women who cover this industry, who are fans just like us, who can give us the not just the good stuff of women's wrestling, but the things that bother them about women's wrestling.
yeah, that too. And and who has the best women's division? So we're
Mm.
gonna definitely get into that. And so let's jump right on to it. The state of the women's division has officially commenced. The women's Survivor Series team um, hasn't yet been, fulfilled or announced, but we can kind of see for the most part. Looks like the women's WWE Women's Champion and Women's World Heavyweight Champion is going to be a part of it.
Mhm.
The issues I have is I feel like with Crown Jewel being in the middle, it kind of messes up the flow of the Survivor Series build. So I don't know about y'all, but when I saw Monday Night Raw and I seen all these females coming out that don't belong there, and the first thing I was asking myself is, what the hell is she doing here? What is, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton doing here? What is, Io Sky doing here? So by the end of that segment, I kind of see what was going on. But I still don't have any answers as to how this team is going to come about. So I'm going to start with Miinx here. Who do you see being in the women's War Games match? Because clearly Rhea Ripley was going to be the focal point of this match, but she's out of the commission probably till the beginning of the year. Who do you see in the War Games match? Who do you want to see in there? Who you think should be in there? And how do you feel about the build-up? Has it been rushed, or are they playing it just right?
Personally, we hear a lot of chatter over the internet about, people being suspended, people being injured, but Rhea Ripley's gonna make a comeback. You can't. If Liv Morgan is in the if Liv Morgan is in the fold, Rhea Ripley's gonna come back. It's what they're doing right now. They're pushing that feud. She's gonna come back. I already seen the Io Sky lineup, the whole War Games lineup. It's obviously that's exactly who it's gonna be. Like, it's only because they're still pushing this feud that everybody else is bored with. Honestly, I'm tired of it. Like, give them both something else to do. Liv Morgan, let her do something else. Rhea Ripley, let her do something else. It's just kind of getting old. It's just repetitive. Like, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Like, how many times have we seen this? Like, come on now.
Yeah, because I think they was on the path of Rhea Ripley and Raquel, which that if NXT was any indication, that should be a banger. So yeah, I'm with you. It shouldn't go past this point. It should have been over already. Megan, what do you think? What are your thoughts about this whole Liv Morgan, Dominic, Rhea Ripley, and this possibly War Games match coming to fold?
I agree with Minx. I think it has ran its course. I'm guessing that they had an idea of Rhea taking the belt from Liv. Um, but for whatever reason, I mean, I guess Rhea did actually get injured. Um, so it's being pushed back. I'm not sure if there's anybody else that they have lined up to take the belt from Liv at this point. So she will be holding on to it. Um, even remotely talking about Crown Jewel, I'm not really understanding why they made her the winner of her match against Nia. That was a little strange to me, but
Agreed.
it just didn't quite make sense to me. But when it comes down to War Games, I guess we kind of saw what the teams was going to be with Bianca and Jade, um, Naomi, Io, which is funny because Bianca had beef with Io, Kyrie, especially Bailey, for months, and she seemed a little bit more welcoming to Io than she was for Bailey. So I thought that was interesting because you hate Bailey, and Bailey
Yeah,
brought Io back. So you should have the same feelings for Io as well. But yeah, that just seems like that's going to be one of the teams, and then of course Naya, Tiffany, um, and who were the others?
I
Probably
can't remember
Raquel.
either.
Probably Raquel.
I
Probably
can't
obviously
remember
think
either.
Raquel will get Liv, Nia.
Yeah, Liv
yeah.
and
If
Raquel.
if yeah, yeah. Because if
Yeah,
if Liv isn't defending her title, she should be in War Games. Yeah.
I was definitely thinking that she was more than likely going to defend her title against Rhea for Survivor Series, and Rhea just got injured. So they had to scramble and find a place for her. But if right now it's looking like, even not to get off topic too much, but it doesn't even look like Cody is going to be in Survivor Series. So if you don't, I mean, it's okay if Liv took a break. She doesn't have to be there. Honestly, like this title run has been better than her original one when she had
Agreed.
took the title off of Ronda. It's far better, but it's like Mink said, it's getting repetitive at this point. You gotta do something with her. You have to, or
Right.
take the title off of her.
Yeah,
Note note to
yeah,
add.
I agree.
Note to add. I'm gonna go back to
Good.
what Megan said. The whole crown jewel. It's like I'm sorry to say this, if you're a Liv fan out there, don't hate me, but
And that's what.
um but I
Dale.
say this I say this all the time on the Holy Shit podcast. Nia Jax is so much bigger than Liv Morgan. I don't know how she got to win. It's only by interference. Like, you guys gotta, WWE has to put the damn matches to where make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, Nia would have
Right.
had the match. She's so damn small. She would have ragdolled her. Like, it just, you gotta put her up against opponents that to make it more believable, because if you're not doing that, I don't know what you're doing, because it doesn't make sense to me.
It's
Does
true.
make sense to me.
No, it's true. It's true. I
No,
have a little
it does.
inside. I don't know. My little inside joke is that Liv like it. Like in all of her matches, she is getting thrown across in the ring, and to me, I think Liv likes it. She seems to do a good job at it. So but
Yeah.
every competitor that she has, she is getting wiped across the ring, and it just fits her character. Like she's down, but she's not out. She gets right back up and she laughs in your face, and somehow somebody from Judgment Day helps her win, and and
Dom.
that's just the wrap up with her. It's true.
Dom should just join the women's roster already, because he's always getting involved in women's stuff.
Hey, we
I'm just
don't need
saying.
another we don't need another Harvey Wolferman, okay? We don't need another
Harvey Whippleman.
another skinny pencil geek trying to win the women's championship. We don't need none of that. We don't
Harvey
we do
Whippleman.
that as a kid. Just Dominic is living sky high. He's
really
the
is.
man of the year in my opinion.
Are we gonna
He's
ignore
like,
that Kurt had a Harvey Whippleman reference in 2024.
Mm.
hey, if you know, you know. If you don't, you ain't old enough. But yeah, I agree, because if you guys tuned into our crown jewel predictions, everyone on the panel basically had Nia Jax
Squashed.
winning, and we all
Exactly.
and I for sure said if Liv Morgan was going to win, it was going to be because of Raquel.
Right.
And
Interference.
Raquel played a big role. She's her Diesel to her Shawn Michaels. It's like that's what you get. That's they have a history. They're friends. They both hate Rhea. They both got screwed over by Rhea. They both got put on the shelf by Rhea. So it wasn't like, let's just stick Raquel with her. It made all the perfect
made
sense
sense.
in the world for
Absolutely.
those two to be together. So from what I understand, the women's Survivor Series team is still going to be 4-4. So I'm still struggling to trying to put together who's going to be on whose side, because I already know for sure it's going to be the big three of Bianca, Jade, and Naomi, and I'm going to put Bailey in there. It's going to be one of those. Bianca does not want Bailey on that team, but it's going to be one of those that she has to be on that team. So I think that's the
Yeah.
4. It's just I don't know who's going to team with Liv and Raquel, because you still got members. John's one of John's predictions was one of the 2 members from Pure Fusion Collective, like Zoe
Right.
Stark and Shayna could be on the other side. But then you still got Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. So are we gonna get the women's WWE Women's Champion and World Heavyweight Champion on the same side?
I think
That'd be
so.
insane.
I mean, technically, they're both heels,
True.
and if they play this right, I could still see Tiffany cashing in or trying to,
Yep.
I was just about
but
to
they
say
gotta
if
play
I'm
it
Tiffany
right.
Stratton, yeah.
I'm definitely
I was
catching
about to
it.
say if I'm Tiffany Stratton, I'm looking at this like, damn. All
I
right,
have both
I'm a kid in the
champions.
candy store.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, I'm
both
the kid in the candy
champions
store.
on my side. I'm wrestling with the both of them. The women's world champion and the WWE women's champion. They're both like right here side by side. I can take one or even both. I mean, could she at some point? Would that be too much to
Uh,
dip on her chip or
I
Hmm.
think I think it's gonna be one of those another tease, but I think the whole dynamic of Bianca and Bailey is gonna be too much to the fact that Tiffany's not gonna have a chance to cash in because I think her team's gonna win. Because shout out to Cash with this theory that Bailey could be that Achilles heel for Bianca to make her lose focus and cause that team to lose.
Uh-huh.
Because that hatred she has for Bailey goes so deep that when her and Jay became a team in the beginning, Jay had to keep reminding her, like, dude, shut up about damage control. Shut up about Bailey. We got business to take care of over here. So I think it's gonna rear its ugly head
see?
again.
Now I'm glad that you brought that up because that's the point. Now you was willing to shake hands with EO. We saw it. We all saw it.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah,
didn't understand the. It was the indifference for EO,
I
but the
think
clear evidence
because
of hatred for Bailey.
because she really doesn't have that much hate for EO because it was a Money in the Bank cash in. She knew the assignment. She knew once someone had that briefcase, she was on borrowed time. She didn't expect it to be right as she won the championship. So she has that respect that she understood, and pretty much it was all Bailey that's been pretty much giving her been a thorn in her side since the pandemic era.
Right.
So it's like it just damage control was just there by association, but the root of it all has always been Bailey. So I think Bailey's gonna
But
be
they
the
all,
downfall of their championships.
but they all took turns beating up Bianca. You know, that was the
Yeah,
one thing that Bianca kept saying. Like I kept getting jumped by all four of them: Io, Oscar, Dakota,
yeah.
with Bailey
But who?
being the leader. But you know, mm, I don't
What
know.
you think?
She hates
You
her the
know,
most. She hates her the most.
yeah, she
That's
do, she do.
she barely came around to EO because EO pretty much kicked Bailey out of damage control. So already Bianca's like, I don't feel sorry for her at all. Far as her concern is, it's like whatever with everybody else, with Dakota, with Kyrie, with Oscar. Well, I don't know about Oscar yet because she hasn't been back, but she's
Right.
like whatever with everyone else. But when it's Bailey, it's automatically always going to be the side eye, the on
Right.
site, you know, that's the monster that brought that group together in the first place. So
Hmm.
um I can see her putting those differences aside, but Bailey, that's a whole nother animal, and it's gonna be her downfall that might turn her heel later on
Yeah.
in the story. John, what do you think about the Women's Survivor Series team? Who do you got going in? Who you think should be in, and how'd you like the rush build to this match?
Okay. So let's go back to Monday night with the tag match. Um, I'm saying, yeah, I don't like the rush build. Like we all been in agreement. I think everyone in the IWC and the communities is believing the obviously Crown Jewel, the whole Crown Jewel title might have put a little bit of a damper of the build for Survivor Series that it normally does. I mean, we've had Crown Jewels before Survivor Series, but there seems something different because we've had this will be the third straight year we've had War Games, and the build. And I guess with the Crown Jewel Championships, everything seemed like it was just all, no pun intended, choreographed. So it was. I get where they're going. I see where they're going because obviously you go back to the Monday night. Jade and Bianca retain over Liv and Raquel. By the way, let's not overlook the fact that Bianca pinned Liv. So that could be a whole nother can of worms that
situation.
You bring obviously you have Nia and Tiffany come out there because obviously they want to receive for Jade and Bianca beating them in the tag match the other day, even though Candice LeRae got involved, which she didn't need to, and Bianca got the pin on Tiffy. And then obviously now you throw Io in because she's the number one contender to Liv, and you see hell freezes over because you see Bianca Belair happily shaking hands with Io Sky, like we all said, look, we all know Bayley was public enemy number one when it came to the whole Bianca damage control feud, but Io got two dubs on Bianca. Obviously, Bianca got the first dub on her at Backlash in Puerto Rico, and remember that crowd turned on Bianca that night in Puerto Rico.
They sure did.
They turned on her that night. So you fast forward to Io winning Money in the Bank. She cashes in on Bianca at SummerSlam. They run it back last year at Crown Jewel, which is the return of Kairi Sane, and you get these teams meeting for 2 straight years in War Games, and now you're basically keeping your enemy closer. You keep your friends closer, your enemies closer, because even though Bianca will always have that legendary feud with damage control, I tweeted out during when I got the roster replay at Crown Jewel, I can watch her and Io go rounds. But I don't know the build, and obviously Monday, I noticed there's some spoilers they're out there, and I try to ignore them because I've seen part, but I've just ignored it because I want to see how I'm going to react in real time when this comes to part. But obviously, the big three with Io, with Nia and Tiffy, and Liv and Raquel, it just seems like I get it, but I don't get it because obviously this is also kind of hinting that Io's not going to beat Liv Morgan whenever they face for the world title.
I think
Io.
That.
Huh?
I think we knew that. I think we knew Io.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying because if any, people delusional. I think we all know Liv going into War Games with the title. I mean, people really thought Io have a chance. I think it's gonna be a banger match though because like styles make fights, and Io Sky is just a high flyer. Whatever she does is just poetry, emotion. Well, I want to be intrigued by what happens Monday night with the taped episode because obviously they're going to cross paths. I mean, they're probably going to cross paths on SmackDown too, but it does feel rushed. And there's no story. It's just we ain't even got the whole. And obviously, we're going to get the whole War Games chant eventually, but obviously, people are seeing the writing on the wall. They saw the writing on the wall, especially when you see the videos of Bianca and the big three and Io Sky walking out of Raw, and they're all celebrating together. I'm like,
yeah, like I knew that Jade and Bianca was going to definitely be the focal point of the Survivor Series team. I wasn't sure if they were going to have the tag team titles or not. So looks like they're going to have the night off as far as defending them. They might defend them beforehand because I know Last Legend and Jakara Jackson, they still want to run that back. So we got to keep an eye out for those two. So it's interesting to see. And speaking of, as you said, all hell breaking loose. Last week on Friday, Nick Aldis pretty much confirmed the rumors that was circulating for the past 6 months. He announced the brand spanking new Women's United States Championship.
Can I ask a question
Um,
to the ladies
yeah.
after you go your intro? I want to ask a question to the ladies.
All right. So my only fear of that announcement was that the title was going to have enough time to breathe before Raw came out with their Women's Intercontinental Championship or something. Because I wanted that championship to let it marinate, see how it goes. Because they got enough women on both Raw and SmackDown to compete for the United States Championship. So I heard around the rumor mill that coming out of Monday Night Raw, no one in that locker room even breathed a word of an women's IC championship. So it looks like for now, it's only going to be the women's United States Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that the winner, the first inaugural champion, should be Chelsea Green. But I would not be surprised if Triple H pulls let the established star carry the championship first. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bayley is not handed, but somehow Bayley winds up winning the championship. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't like it because she's been champion before, but if they want to go the whole, let the veteran hold it first, I would not be surprised it's her. But me personally, it should come down to either Michin, Naomi, or Chelsea Green. And my money is definitely going to be on Chelsea Green because they finally let the woman go. And she's a gem on SmackDown.
Right.
Before we get to the panel, John, you had a question?
All right. So obviously, I know you ladies are psyched for this, and I want to take y'all back to Bad Blood because I think a lot of people thought this was when they saw Triple H with that podium and that obviously with that velvet cover, they thought this was what they were going to be unveiling at Bad Blood, but it ended up being the Crown Jewel Championship. And now we see that this was probably been in the works, and then now they're doing it a week after Crown Jewel. How did y'all feel about first? Was y'all initial reaction thinking that this was going to be announced at a PLE? And then what was y'all initial reaction to, and I think this is what Trail's probably asked, to the title being officially unveiled? And I'll start with Megan.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was going to be revealed at a pay-per-view, because a lot of people has been online talking about it. They wanted a mid-card title for the women's for a long time. Now the unfortunate thing is NXT got the mid-card women's title first with the North American title because that's how long it's been online that a mid card title was going to be revealed. Um, I think everybody, maybe not everybody, but I think people know why Crown Jewel got a belt. To keep the prince happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the title stays out there. It doesn't come here. Um,
Thank God.
I mean, when you hear about how pricey and how much gems and stuff is on that belt, just the price of security to tote that belt around would just be astronomical. Not like WWE can't afford it, but it's like, no real use since, it's a one shot title. You don't defend it no more. And it's just once a year, so there's no point really. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I think it's just been a long time coming, and like they say, Triple H stays online. He stays online, and he's always reading tweets and stuff. So he's heard a lot of people complaining, saying that look, you got the main roster women fighting over 4 belts, and the tag team titles. You're not the tag teams that you have that should be getting a title shot. They're not, and now that you have taking the NXT women's tag team belts, now you have a set of belts that has to be split up between three different brands: Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So at some point, it will only be right to have more gold for the women's division. Um, so yeah, it was a little letdown to go into Bad Blood thinking that that's what it was going to be, and it was a once in a year title. But we finally got it, and a lot of people are still complaining about it. They don't like it. They think the belt is ugly. It looks too much like the men's title. I, it's like, well, you can't please everybody, but I am glad that there is a main card title for SmackDown, and hopefully one will be revealed for Raw. It probably will be closer to um towards the end of the year, if not December, then probably after Raw goes to Netflix. But I really hope that they don't wait that long. I hope they don't.
Miinx.
Wow.
All right. First of all, Crown
Oh
Jewel.
boy. Oh boy.
Nobody gave a crap about that big ass for nothing title. It's big as hell for nothing. You're not defending it every week. You're not even defending it every month. You're defending it every year. What a waste of a title. I understand you're trying to keep the prince happy, like Megan said. I understand that. But let's be honest, you only grab that as a flex. It wasn't really nothing. And even what? Makes no sense to me. So I really didn't think they were gonna reveal a United States title, a mid card title at Crown Jewel.
Okay.
But I am glad they revealed it on a SmackDown. But I do want to say this: if there's gonna be one revealed on Raw, hear me out. There's not enough heat on Raw right now.
Uh-huh.
I just don't see who would take it. Like
Got
it's
you.
because NXT has the best roster right now. Unless you're gonna bring some up from NXT, then I see no point of having one for Raw because Raw does not have good enough wrestlers to chase the title. Like I'm being honest.
Yeah,
You
that's
trying to say
why I'm hoping the United States Championship is the only one because, like you said, means SmackDown has the better talent, women wise. So if they just have the United States Championship, they can go on both shows and give a woman over there like a Zelina Vega or a Nikki Cross when she's not, popping up in people's houses and stuff. Give her a shot. Zoe, Shayna, those girls, get them going. Bring Natalia out of the dungeon retirement to get her going. So right now, the women only need one mid-card title. And I think the fact that it's the United States Championship, I think that would be the way to go. So to piggyback earlier, I'm going to double back and Miinx, I'm going to ask you, who do you think should be the inaugural Women's United States Champion? Like, who do you want to be the last woman standing?
I'm not really picky. I mean, I would say, I know everybody wants Chelsea Green, but honestly, I wouldn't mind Michin getting it or Naomi, but I'm happy with Chelsea Green, but I wouldn't mind any of them having it. Like, just as long as they defend it right, they hold it right, I don't care. Like, it's just as long as, they do great stuff with it. If you're just going to have it and then be like, oh my God, like, no, I don't want to see you have it. Get out of here. But if you're defending it and you're, like an actual title and not running, yeah, I'm good with it.
So pretty much a female workhorse championship, something that
that's exactly what it should be. That's exactly what it should be.
Yeah, because the women, they got a lot of workhorses in the women's division. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Megan, what's your opinion? Who you think should be, champ?
Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, those Naomi and Chelsea has always been my two top choices. You know, I know I don't feel like Chelsea gets enough credit. I mean, she has really been um the she has been a real comic relief for the women's division, and at the same time she has kind of kept it alive in her own way when it was a little dry on SmackDown. I think everybody can agree that NXT, look, Sugar Daddy Sean is taking care of the women in NXT. He is
What
going
the
to
heck
make
is
sure
wrong
his
with
girl.
Yeah.
Hold up. We ain't gonna sit here and let that slide. Like she ain't just
Yes,
called this man
yes.
Sugar Daddy Sean.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yes, yes, yes. Look, you see it. He takes care of his girls. He
He
makes sure
does.
his
yeah,
girls are
he
good.
He
does.
does.
He does.
He
And
does.
I
He does.
always say
He
that,
does.
Paul, you need to take a page out of your friend's book because
He can't.
it's really NXT is really a woman's division and a couple of men that wrestles, you know. And even Tony could take a page from Sean. But honestly, yeah, I mean, I think I have to put Michin in it too because she had a really good year. I loved her feud with Jada Parker. I loved her feud, even though it was very small, with Chelsea and Piper. So really, those three would be my choices: either Chelsea, Michin, or Naomi. But uh, yeah, if I had to choose between the two, I would love to see Naomi with gold again. But
Mm-hmm.
the way Chelsea, the money in the bank, getting pushed off the ladder, the dumpster match, um, they really put her through it throughout this year. Her and Nicholas Prickles and Adam, and I mean, she has like been through it all year. So if there is anyone that I feel deserves the title, I would definitely say Chelsea.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's
Chelsea's
the
my girl.
female. She's the female R truth of the women's division. Is like
I can
when
say
you
that, yeah.
need that person to fill that void, it's like I've seen her work in other promotions. I've seen her work in TNA,
Yeah.
and every time I see her, I'm like, she's always this princess, and it's like she's way more than that. I'm like, let her cook. You brought her back. She didn't. She had a horrible first run. She was riddled with
Mm-hmm.
injuries, and they got rid of her at a snap of the finger, Vince.
Mhm.
So he saw no value. She went somewhere else. She pretty much made a name for herself, and the fact that the moment they really let her get serious, it just so happened to be with Michin, someone who she has history with.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they finally let her cook. And you mentioned Money in the Bank. If it what everyone was high on Tiffany Stratton, so if it wasn't gonna be Tiffany Stratton, for sure it should have been Chelsea Green. So the fact that they were the last two on that ladder, to me, could be a precursor that Tiffany's gonna get the women's championship. So we just might get Chelsea Green as the women's United States champion. So that remains to be seen. I'm
Yeah.
anxious to see how or when this, if there's a tournament, which I'm assuming it will be, because I hope it's not a battle royal, because I hate those.
No, Jonathan.
It has to be a women. If I know Triple H, he's a student of the game. He always does everything old school.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that it's a tournament that probably is going to begin after Survivor Series. So we shall see how that goes. John, who do you think should be the first champion. Who's your favorite?
Okay. First of all, good answers from everybody. I did a poll on the Sports4U Wrestling Twitter account, probably Saturday, Sunday, but right Saturday after the Nick Aldis made the announcement. I put specifically in this question, Naomi, Michin, or the field. So you put Chelsea Green in that field. So and here's the crazy part. It was split. It was split 33% each one. Yes, someone vote for Naomi. Yes, someone vote for Michin, and someone vote for the field. And for the conversation, let's say the field is Chelsea Green.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think it's going to be Michin. And if I had to rank it like this, Michin would be number one because I think what she's been through, whether it was with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven or Nia Jax, and have to find her way after pretty much being, I don't want to say she was exiled from the OC, but pretty much having to find her way because obviously AJ Styles had to go away for a minute and now he's back on the shelf, and obviously the Good Brothers are on the shelf because Anderson just had surgery, so she's done a good job finding the path that she was trying to find the whole time. Her, as you know, going through NXT, the Retribution crap, going back to TNA, and basically establish. Say the same thing about Chelsea. And I can say it about all three. Now let me go to Chelsea Green. I bring up Money in the Bank. Just go back to her when she made her return at the Royal Rumble last year. She was out in 5 seconds. And then they book her as this Karen, which we all got a crack out of, when she was trying to find whether she was on Raw or SmackDown. And then she finally partners with Sonya Deville, so she gets a tag title. Sonya Deville gets hurt. Then obviously that brings in Piper Niven, and people probably wondering, is this really going to work? Because Piper Niven's a powerhouse and she's mean, and Chelsea's probably like the goofy, it's like the cop, one of those comedy cop movies. You got the serious cop, you got the funny cop, and it works. And you know, at the Royal Rumble this year, how the beating she took in the Royal Rumble this year, and then the icing on the cake was going through 2 tables and Money in the Bank like she did back in TNA. She has a valid case why she should be the first Women's United States Champion. I wouldn't be mad at it. Now let me go to Naomi. We ain't got to revisit how Naomi left. We all know how foul it was. But we got to see what she did in TNA, and we got to see that she can be. Let's just compare TNA's title, the Knockouts title, to this title, because it is kind of like obviously, even though it's their main title, but it's kind of because it was a smaller brand. It's kind of like the North American title, the Women's North American title, to a sort. Mm-hmm. And Naomi took that title from Deonna Purrazzo and carried that thing like to heights that I probably hadn't seen in a minute. Then you beat Mickie James at the top. You beat Mickie James, and then obviously she loses to Jordynne Grace, which was a passing of the torch moment because we found out she was coming home, and we all saw the pop she got at the Royal Rumble. Man, we've been all wanting that moment for her. We saw the pop she got at WrestleMania. We was rooting for her we wanted her to win Money in the Bank. So these 3 women have all had their heartaches, but they've all showed that they can triumph over all the garbage that they've been through. So I think them 3 will be one of them 3 will get it. But if I had to pick one, I'm going with my Cali girl Michin, because that's one tough chick, man. That's just one tough chick. I like her, man, and I think
you brought up Naomi's run in TNA. I think that's probably another reason why it probably won't be her. It's because she's had goals. She's 2-time SmackDown champion, Knockout champion. Unfortunately, she fits that veteran role, and from what we see from Triple H, he's building stars instead of still, putting the vets over. So I personally think it's going to come down to Chelsea Green and Michin one last time to determine who's going to be, the inaugural champion. So it's basically going to be, is it going to be a heel winning it and have the runner-up babyface chase that championship, or they're going to give it to a babyface and make her the workhorse until one day that that heel finally beats her.
Right.
So, and I was, like you said, John, the whole Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, I wasn't gonna know it was gonna work or not, but I've seen a few interviews of them and they slept at each other's houses. They're longtime friends for many years. So now it makes sense why, it works so well.
Mhm.
So, but to the championship, I think Naomi's probably gonna be in it, but I'm pretty sure somehow, some way, she's gonna get screwed out of that opportunity, which might have something to do with Nia, because I think right now her main focus is the WWE Women's Championship. So I don't think she's gonna go from losing that championship to going for a United States title, which I could be
Right.
wrong because WWE is notorious for doing swerves, but if I would put my money on it, it's going to come down to Michin and Chelsea Green. And those two are long overdue for recognition, long overdue for their flowers, especially Michin,
Right.
because we're getting that NXT Michin back. And also, we do not need to relive Retribution. That was the 2020, Thanos from end games that we don't want to remember. That was crap for her. That never should have happened.
Remember she lost her masks in that match, in one of those
That was
matches?
stupid. It was dumb. It was poorly booked. It should have never happened. It was doomed from the start. It was wannabe Nexus, wannabe, it wasn't, and the fact there was no fans either, it really made it kind of trash. And the names they gave her is like really? We know it's Michin. Yeah, it's like we know it's Michin, so let's put the crap on that.
When they tried to book her, and they tried to play this feud where Xavier Woods wanted to have a match with her. I was like, come on, Woods. Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of crap, let's move on to AEW. What can I say about this company and the way they book their women, their talent, their female talent on here? I can go so many places. So I'm just gonna start with what's going on now. The whole Mercedes Mone, Chris Statlander, and Camille, which is one of the reasons why Megan, I had said earlier that you was making me laugh, because when it came to Camille, it was like, it's like you built this woman for at least a few weeks as this powerhouse, and the moment she meets Chris Statlander, she's getting her ass whooped left and right. She has a broken arm. They somehow booked a terrible car accident involving Chris Statlander, because I'm sorry, I'm never gonna question a woman's toughness, but if you get hit by a car, you shouldn't be getting up 2 seconds later beating up two women. Like there's no way. And
yeah,
it's because I put it to you like this: Liv Morgan, Mercedes Moné, they're roughly, without the shoes, they're roughly around the same height. Mercedes probably like a smidge taller. They both got bodyguards.
Mhm.
How often do you see Raquel getting her butt kicked? Like
Never.
getting manhandled. I mean, she get a few shots in from Nia, but that's about it. Nothing too big. A few shots from Rhea, nothing too big, but you don't see her get her ass kicked. Cameron has gotten her ass kicked by Statlander not once, but multiple times. and Miinx, I don't know if you've seen AEW earlier. She got put through a fake wall by Chris Stanlander. And it's like, what's the purpose of you being a bodyguard?
Dude, I missed it. I was on the game show.
Yeah,
I saw the clip on Twitter. It was trash. You're gonna be pissed when you watch it.
Yeah, because you got this girl being a powerhouse, 6 foot something, a monster, and she's getting belittled by Mercedes. She's being yelled at, disrespected, treated like Lenny from George from Mice of Men. You know, like she's like this big 7 foot dum dum, which is not the case. And she's how are you gonna protect someone with one arm? So, Megan, I'm gonna start with you. What is your thought on this poorly built program with these women?
Well, the tweet that you're referring to when I said Camille looks miserable, and that's because she is because from what I heard, allegedly her and Mercedes do not get along. Those are real emotions that you see on Camille. And so, huh?
Did Jonathan Coachman say that?
Okay, first of all,
no, I didn't mean to throw you off. I did that because that's from an episode from your pop. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, no, my source is actually reliable.
Legit.
I don't know where he get his from. But yeah, allegedly. I'm not going to say it's true or not, but you know, there's just ways that you could tell. People there some people are really good actors and some people are not. And despite the cameras coming on, yeah, there's a way that you could turn on and be the character that you're supposed to be. And then there are times when real feelings, real emotions is going to come out. Um, so if it seems like there's such a rush from Mercedes, pretty much pushing Camille and she's big, she's this, she's that, and Camille, like you said, pretty much just rolling everyone to the point of now she came across Chris Statlander and she can't stand a chance. That's the reason why they're rushing to break them two up. Um, I mean, if it's true, it's just old habits die hard, and she's going to her reputation is going to follow her because that's just who she is. That's just Mercedes, you know, and you just deal with it. She came in May, and by the end of June, July, she had two belts, and she's been holding them two belts since then. And I mean, it's not like she's the greatest wrestler of all time. She's a talented wrestler. You still need a little help on the mic because there is no reason why Britt Baker should have ate you the way she did when you two was feuding. There's no reason. That bitch what line? There was no reason why that should have ate the way it did, but it did. And we know Mercedes is not strong on the mic. But it just seems like they're leading up to Chris taking the title, having her to take the title off Mercedes the same way she took the title off of Jade when she was leaving. Um, I guess it works. I you know I don't know. It just seems like there's certain people that they're keeping within the TBS title line. You had Julia Hart that had it. She's coming back. You had Jade. She had it for over 300 days, almost 400 days. Um, since then, you had Chris. You had Willow. Um, and now Mercedes. So, um, if that's your way in taking the title off of Mercedes, and they feel like Chris is the right person to take it instead of maybe somebody like Anna J, or even Harley Cameron, who I feel like she reminds me a lot of Chelsea.
I was just
They're
about
not
to. I was
really.
thinking that literally as you were talking. I was thinking that literally as you were talking.
They really don't play her. I feel they don't book her the way that she should be booked at all either. Um, but I love Chris, and if they feel like Chris is the one that should take the title off from Mercedes, I'm here for it. But Mercedes should not have held both titles for as long as she has. That's a hill that I'm going to die on. She should not have held both titles as long as
Yeah,
she has.
We'll be on the
So
hill with you.
yeah.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
we
I just she pulled rank. It's obvious she pulled rank, and you know, but I hope that for the sake of Camille, who is another wrestler who chose AEW over WWE because she was a WWE prospect too. Triple H wanted her as well, but she chose AEW. I hope that they book her um, sufficient to her talent because we've seen her. She's a really great wrestler, but they just made her Mercedes heater, and now they don't really get along, allegedly, and now they have to derail her down another path because they're not seeing eye to eye.
the
Thanks.
way I see it, they're gonna derail it right to catering. Um, Minx, what are your thoughts on this whole Mercedes issue?
First of all, we all know she wanted to be the highest paid, the highest me girl when going to AEW. She wanted to be, it's all about me. I'm gonna get the title. You're gonna give me this. It wasn't about, I want to earn it. Give me a strong storyline. Give me a strong character. It was more of about me. So I don't really think anything about it. I just think they don't need to be on her until she gets some mic skills. Shit, your cousin is Snoop Dogg. Take a few pointers.
Yeah, I mean,
And Ray J.
it's crazy how like her leaving WWE basically exposed her very badly as far as mic skills go. Because out of the four horsewomen, she is the least skilled on the mic, and Vince did a good job hiding that from everybody. So the
Yes.
fact that she tried to be the big fish somewhere else, and it's like the only time people cared about her was her debut in Boston, and after that, no one gave a shit.
Yep.
And
Wow.
the fact, like you said, Megan, that she got owned by Britt Baker multiple times, and the
Yeah.
fact that Britt Baker's like, all I gotta do is this, and people know what's up. You're putting it in your theme song on telling people what to say. So I was like, yikes.
Yeah.
And I was telling John about this. The gripe I had was she showed up, did nothing, and got a championship. If that was the plan, she should at least had a few matches under her belt, get some wins, and then beat Willow for the championship. Then it would have been like, all right, well, she beat this person, she beat that person, she did this, she did that. Cool. But she
Mhm.
walks into the joint and becomes the highest paid female on that roster, pretty much, Tony Khan's biggest pet project.
Yeah.
And it's like it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way from the start. And I feel like her run was excuse my French, it was just ass. It she had the star power from WWE and did nothing with it. And so
Yeah.
now it makes it seem like now it's like, was WWE really wrong for letting you go? Because now it looks like okay, maybe there's layers to this that we're barely finding out, and WWE is looking at like, well, that's your guys' problem now. John, what do you make of this Mercedes Monet drama with Camille and her run as TBS champion?
God, gotta make sure I get gotta get the roadcaster back ASAP. This is the moment. God, we gotta get the roadcaster back. Trash, man. It's trash. I love Mercedes, man. I love Mercedes, man. I love Sasha Banks. No, that's your back. I love Sasha Banks. I don't like Mercedes Monet. Mercedes Renato, the person who's living her dream as a pro wrestler, much respect. But me and Trail talked about this when we found out she was going when she challenged Willow. I was like, they really gonna pay off? They really gonna basically give her the strap just because she got hurt in a match against Willow?
Yeah.
It's like it was happening. And the crazy part, it was out here at Long Beach where she's gonna be at in the next month. They're having New Japan is having the event here at the Pyramid a month from now. So I hate it because one, like she obviously, like Trail said, the Boston, she was going to get the pop in Boston because that's home turf for her, where she honed her craft. So, but like I said, after that, it's been lackluster. She takes the belt from, she comes up every 5 seconds to outshine Willow. She takes the belt from Willow at a Double or Nothing. Then you bring in Forbidden Door, and she takes the strap off Stephanie Valcour, and we saw how that match ended. Me and Trail we were at Dave & Buster's, and we were at the Dave & Buster's watching that. We was pissed how that match ended because there was no way Stephanie Valcour should have been forced to lose like that. Basically, getting her in the moneymaker # bank statement and tapping within 3 seconds of being put in the hold. Come on now. And this whole situation with Chris Stanlander. Okay, let me be clear. If Camille is called the Brick House, she's supposed to be a brick house. Go back to the Three Little Pigs. Yeah, house made of bricks, house made of wood, was a house made of straw. Don't make her the straw. You're making her to be the straw house. That's what they're doing. Basically, and Mercedes is the big bad wolf, and she gets the huff and puff and basically blow the house down, and Camille has to fold like a little girl. We don't see that with Liv Morgan and Raquel. If y'all gonna make her be if Camille's supposed to be the Diesel to her Shawn Michaels, let her be Diesel. Yeah, come on, man. It's sad, and I hate it. And like Meg said, she shouldn't be getting cooked by Britt Baker. But like y'all were right, like y'all was right. Maybe they knew WWE knew that her one flaw was she couldn't cut a promo. If you go back during the pandemic era, when after Charlotte obviously became NXT Women's Champion over Rhea Ripley. That's a whole nother conversation. You go back to that SmackDown when she's having this promo war in the PC with Bayley, and basically Mercedes is sitting there, and you have her pretty much calling her Bayley's lapdog. She didn't say a word that whole segment, but it's bad. But like Meeks was saying, she came here basically, like Meg said, also pull rank, making it about her. They ain't no lies that, I mean, we listen to Corey Graves' commentary very close. Do I agree?
Yep.
What has he always said in his commentary about Sasha Banks?
You have to refresh my memory on that one. He says a lot of stuff that
her being selfish. He always makes a reference to her being selfish. Now, it could be him kayfabing, but sometimes, like you say, art imitates reality. And since she's been in AEW, the art has imitated reality because she's just using her name, getting her bag, and holding these belts, and pretty much nothing has came about it. You beat Britt Baker at All Out. You beat Sheeta. You take the belt from Willow. And now it's all looking like we're going back to Chris Statlander. We was in the forum a year ago in Full Gear when Chris Statlander lost the TBS title to Julia Hart. So now fast forward a year later, she's getting the belt back again against another big acquisition who AEW didn't book right. And I love you, Jay, but they didn't book her right.
Yeah. And pretty much Jay in AEW can easily be Sasha in WWE. She didn't have the mic skills, so they protected her. But what they did with Jay was actually what made her in WWE now. She had that long winning streak that was rivaling Goldberg's winning streak, which I'm not gonna lie, it was cool. But she still didn't have. She was green, so she had no business being on the winning streak to begin with. But it is what it is. When you mentioned when she tapped out Stephanie Barcora, yeah, I was mad as hell. But now looking back, it makes perfect sense why that happened. Because look where Stephanie is now, and I guarantee, and I remember I told you this, John. That's probably one of the reasons why she chose to tell Tony Khan, like, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna go this way. And because if you remember, she was lined up to go to AEW. She was already like we mentioned. She already had a match with Mercedes. I thought she was all for sure going to AEW until the news broke that down in Mexico, she, announced that she's leaving, and she pretty much canceled all her bookings, her appearances, and went straight to the PC.
They scooped her up. They got her quick. And but that speaks on Mercedes' character again, because Mercedes wanted to take absolute credit for that. That match that I had with Stephanie, that's probably the reason why she signed to WWE right now. And it's like, no, baby, like there's just when I listen to Mercedes talk, it's very hard to know whether she is being herself or she's in character, because the line has been blurred a lot. And I don't necessarily think that they were wrong for the reason why they left WWE, because Trinity came back and Trinity was welcome back. And if there's anybody that is a prime example of completely effing over a company and coming back like nothing has ever happened, I think the prime example of that is CM Punk. He is the absolute poster child of telling a company to go F yourself and then coming back like nothing has ever happened. So I don't think it was impossible for Mercedes to come back. I think she got a little big headed and she thought she was going to come back and like what she did with AEW, come back, get a title, be up there with Bianca and Charlotte and Becky like she was once before, money purposes as well. And I don't think WWE would have had an issue with paying her, but seeing her in AEW as the CEO character, we are seeing why they did not give her creative control. Because this character is a mess. It's a mess. It was cute in New Japan because it just kind of fit with the women wrestlers out there. They're very eccentric. They're very over the top. That's just how they are out there. So when you try to bring that character here to the States, it looks over the top. Her is very much too much. It is. It's a lot to swallow every week. And again, maybe the purpose of her having a title this long was the agreement in coming to AEW. I know before she had signed with AEW, she definitely gave an impression that she was open to coming back to WWE.
Yeah,
But definitely since she signed the dotted line, she is just like, I don't know. She really feel like she built the women's division to what
she
it is
didn't.
now in WWE.
She,
I know she
she
didn't,
didn't.
but she really thinks she does. And that's
Yeah,
kind of scary that she does.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, she
but
thinks she laid the blueprint, and it's like you're you need a good dance partner. Her and Bailey in Takeover Brooklyn banger. Her and Charlotte in Hell in the Cell banger.
yeah, that was a great match.
So it's like without the other four horsewomen, where would Sasha Banks be?
Mm.
So her
Mercedes
saying
Monet,
that
the
she
CEO at AEW. I mean,
exactly.
this is who
It's
she
like
is
her
now.
saying that she got Stephanie the job. Is like Stephanie was literally like, right, like you going this woman's been doing this just as long as you have, and you trying to say she's the reason why she got the job? No. The moment NXT started going back to what it was, signing free agents, signing people from the indies, women like Stephanie and Julia were high on their radar anyway. And
Right,
Triple H and Shawn Michaels they just came in and poached her right out from Tony Khan's grass because they knew her going over there, she's just gonna be. I think she was just gonna be lost in the shuffle because they got AEW combined AEW with Ring of Honor. They got oh a cesspool of talent, female talent over there in Florida. Like they got people in Ring of Honor they don't use. They have a lot of people in AEW that they should be using that they don't use. They're always bringing in people from Japan. So it's
yeah,
like how you have all this talent and you're getting outworked by a small little developmental program in Florida. Like that doesn't make sense to me. And while we're on the topic of Mercedes Monet, she has recently said in an interview, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show with you two because I really want your thoughts and opinions on this one for sure. She said that she wants to see a weekly women's wrestling show in AEW. Me personally, on paper, I'm all for it. I mean, women, we need more women to shine, more time, good storyline. But the way Tony Khan books, I don't think it's going to be successful, and I don't think it should happen. Um, Megan, I'll start with you, and then we hand it to Minx and then
oh
John.
no, let me go first. She looked like
Okay.
she
Yeah,
got something to get off her chest.
Oh, I didn't see you shaking in the chair. My bad. My bad. Minx, I didn't see you there. Do you? First of all, what do you think of her request? And two, could it work?
Number one, I think she's getting a little bit too big headed trying to request shit. Number two, um, and all women, hell no, it's not gonna work because of it's just not. I mean, I wish I could think. There's like a million things running through my head of why it wouldn't work. Like, if she has anything to do with it, I think it's more of a thing just to showcase her every week. More of a thing to put her on TV more, to give her more segments, to put her in more storylines. I don't think it's necessarily for all women of AEW. I just think she wants it to be more of her, like a big-headed thing. You should do this because I think you'd benefit from it. But in reality, she's trying to put herself in the front seat. I don't think she's actually trying to help the women's division in AEW. I think it's more of a selfish reason. That's why I don't think it's gonna work. I think she's gonna want attention on like every show they have. She wants to become the highest paid. She wants to be the goat or whatever she calls herself these days. She wants to be that, but in reality, everything AEW had have given her, you know damn well man, you know damn well she was like, well, I'm not signing with you if you don't do this, this, and that. So it was already agreed upon before hiring. So she already knew it was coming. So if you get another all women's show, it's pretty much the Mercedes Monet show. Because she's probably going to want some creative control. She's probably going to want the storylines just for having the idea. She's going to be big headed on that as well. So I think it's pure selfish. And I don't think she's trying to help anyone. I think she's trying to help herself.
Mm.
Megan, your take?
I definitely agree with Minx. I think she wants to have the credit in saying that she is the one that had this idea to have an all women's wrestling show through AEW. Never mind the fact that you have had women who helped pave the way for AEW when there weren't many women wrestling there at all. Um, Mercedes just is like Ming said, Mercedes likes to hear Mercedes talk. If there was a way that it if there was a way that it could work, um, she can't have no control. She can't have no control of the show at all. And you really have to book the women that is in the company, you know, like a Soraya, um, like um, well, Julia Hart, she was injured, but now she's coming back. Athena, Queen Eminata, um, Kira Hogan, Red Velvet. Like there's women, even what's her name? What's her name? What's her name? Billy Starks.
Billy
Um,
Starks.
you have so many women that you keep hidden on Ring of Honor. And you can if you don't know when it comes on, if you don't know how to watch it, you will not see it because it is not televised. And you know, the thing about it is how they book their women's division, which sometimes you see it in WWE as well. You always rely on one story to carry the whole division. And with Raw, it's Liv and Rhea. And with AEW for the most of the year, it was um Timeless Tony Storm. She was the one that was really carrying the women's division with Mariah May. So, you have to really learn how to sit with your women wrestlers, learn the characters that they want to portray, and really have them sit with these writers. But, you know, the thing with AEW, like our wonderful uh, president elect, is that you hire a lot of people that is not qualified for the position. So therefore, they don't know what they're doing. And because you want to
Facts.
hire family and friends and nepo babies and people that you know, and you have people like Will Washington, which I have nothing against him, but he was on Fightful and he happens to be Swerve's cousin. So it's a lot about hiring family and
I never
friends.
knew that.
Me neither.
They're cousins. Will and Swerve is cousins. So it has a lot to do with hiring family and friends and just letting it, you know, just throw it in the wind. It'll
Yeah.
catch up. The fans will catch up with what we got going on. Don't worry about it. Just throw it in the wind. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But they'll catch up. And
Mm.
that's just what is going on. And it, the women's show will be another Rampage. It'll just be another
Oh,
show.
yeah.
throughout the week that no one is tuning into, and you know, fix your foundation first. Fix your foundation shows like Dynamite, like Collision. Since Rampage is supposed to be being canceled, I don't know. But fix your foundation shows because you only created Collision to keep CM Punk away from everybody else, and now he's gone.
Thank you.
So
Yes,
what do you want to do with
exactly.
that show now? So yeah, if you create this show, a women's wrestling show, rule number one is to make sure that Mercedes, if she wants credit, give her credit for it, but just don't give her any control to the show at all.
Yeah,
Don't
I don't.
don't
I don't.
allow her to, pull the reins for that show. She's a wrestler like everybody else. She's not an EVP. She doesn't hold any corporate positions within the company. Remind her of that. You're a wrestler. You're my employee. I'm not yours.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
build build that line. Yes. And no more titles for Monet. She
I agree.
doesn't need no more titles either. No, she
No,
doesn't.
the thing is with Tony Khan, it's the he has a limited amount of money being co-owner of the Jaguars and all that, so he's always gonna be flowing in dough. So he doesn't know what no means.
Mhm.
If he actually knew what no means, Adam Copeland would still be wrestling right now and not broke his leg on a stupid stunt. But that's neither here or there.
Mhm.
Um, he doesn't know when to say, okay, I need actual people in here to compete with WWE as far as writing goes, because
Right.
no one back there is writing up good scripts. Like the segments are boring. There's so many logic gaps that it's like we're supposed to forget this actually happened. You
Well, final
have
ball for
subfinal. You have Adam Cole when he got injured, a heel, and you book him to come back as a face. And why is he getting revenge on MJF? Like, wasn't he the one that was the devil with the mask and the crew and all this stuff? But yeah, he's coming back for revenge. It's like it
That's what
made no
happens.
sense.
That's what happens when you don't know your wrestlers. Adam Cole is not a heel. He's not. He's not a heel. Some people just play a role better than others. And no, that storyline did not make sense at all. But they really wanted to make MJF a face and created this whole devil thing, which I kind of suspected that it was going to be Adam anyway. He gets injured, and like you said, he comes back. Even during his injury, he's still a heel, but then MJF comes back and he takes out Adam, and then Adam is gone. Now that Adam came back, he's
Yeah,
a face again, and MJF is a heel. Um, Poor booking and just going with the whim instead of coming up with a cohesive story. And like I said, this isn't a AEW versus WWE thing. WWE has stupid storylines too, you know, absolutely stupid storylines.
mhm,
Um, and sometimes the storylines just go far longer than it needs to. So
right.
it's not a tribalism thing. It's hiring people who knows how to write stories that fits the characters of these wrestlers so that it doesn't feel weird, and it doesn't read off as weird on TV because it does. I'm glad that you brought that up because the whole Adam Cole and the devil and taking everybody out, the claim, and yeah, it was nonsense.
Yeah, and the whole
Nonsense.
thing with Wardlow, it's like, and both him and MJF got injured literally around the same time, and they both had time off. So having MJF come back as still a face, I was like, all right, cool. So eventually we're gonna get Adam Cole. got Adam Cole. We got Adam Cole. He kicked him in the nuts. Adam Cole's off TV again. All right.
Right.
Then for some odd reason, you turn MJF heel for Daniel Garcia, which, the moment they did that, I automatically was like, wait, what about the story? Like, how are they going to fix that story? So, and then, like, it's just that whole, it's pretty much the modern day WCW where there's no guidance, there's no figure in the back that's like, all right, there's no structure, basically. It's just Tony Khan and the Young Bucks. And it's like, you can't have current wrestlers also be businessmen.
Right.
And it's like,
I was
one of the reasons why.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't say that out loud, because Eric Bischoff hates when AEW is compared to WCW. He'll tell you it is nothing like that, and it's like, we were alive when you was running WCW. Yes, it is. It is. There's a lot of similarities between WCW towards the end of the days and the state of AEW right now. I don't think he likes to admit how bad WCW got. Yeah.
And if you guys, Miinx, Megan, John, if you guys think about it, AEW's been like this the entire time. It's just that we were so busy being discussing how WWE was during the pandemic, under Vince, how trash booking that was, and how decisions were making over there. We looked at AEW, saw all these 5-star matches they can put on every week, and it's like, ooh, this is way better over here. And the moment Triple H got in control and actually made sense over there, now it's like, wait a minute, when did AEW get so trash like? And it's like, I came to a realization of this, that it's been this way the entire time, but WWE was so bad, we looked at AEW as an alternative. And I feel like, in my opinion, TNA is giving AEW a run for their money as the second place competition to WWE. They just need a bigger platform like they used to.
I feel like AEW is just like, okay, I feel like WWE is like the big brother, and then there's TNA, middle child, and then there's like AEW. The kid that'll do anything to get some attention or stomp their feet when they don't get their way. Like, they're so desperate. They're so desperate for, like, they're just so damn desperate. They're so desperate for viewers. They're so desperate for fans. That's the only way I can describe it. There's WWE, first child, who got all the attention everyone loved. And then there's TNA, and then there's AEW, stomping their feet when they don't get something, doing anything for attention. That's just how I see it at this point.
I agree.
Yeah, because TNA was on their way of being where AEW is at, but they got rid of Jeff Jarrett, they got rid of Dixie Carter, they got rid of Hulk Hogan, and they literally started, from the bottom again. But networking with WWE is pretty much risen their stock higher. Now they're selling out arenas for their pay-per-views. You're getting more crowds in a TNA arena now. That TNA pretty much has a packed house more than AEW does.
Sure
and a few years ago, AEW was pretty much rivaling WWE because WWE didn't have a packed house for Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Only time they had a packed house is when they go overseas. So now it's like everyone's getting a packed house by AEW, but yet Tony Khan and everybody else is like, well, we're making all the money, so I don't see what the problem is. If there's no problem, how come half of your arena's blacked out? Why is it so dark in there? Like, if I want to go to an intimate setting, I go on a date to the movies or something. I don't need to go to a wrestling event, and the lights are out most of the time, and you can hear just about every single person talk, as opposed to thousands and thousands of people talking at once, screaming and yelling that you can't even hear the announcers. So it's ridiculous. It's I AEW's not going anywhere. They got the financial backing to keep afloat. So there's gonna be people out there that defend them, and they always gonna have fans. But the smart ones, we know what we're seeing and what we don't like, and we don't like our intelligence to be insulted. So
Man.
it's like I said, TNA is on their way of surpassing AEW, and which I don't want to say it's sad because I don't want to disrespect TNA because TNA has a long storied history,
Right.
Right.
but the way they are now, it's like I'm more invested in TNA than I am in AEW. I told John this a few times that I'm leaning towards not watching AEW at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that. you know,
I mean,
like I have a job to do. I have content to make. So we have
I
content to
get
make.
it.
So we
I get it. I mean, I enjoy watching AEW. Um, there's a lot of familiar faces that I want to keep up with now that we have the likes of Bobby and MVP and Sheldon on the show. Um,
mhm.
and just seeing what they are going to do. Maybe that's what it is that they needed. Maybe they needed wrestlers that have the full sense to help along the way when it comes down to the storylines and stuff. You have a lot of people who just want to do whatever they want, and that's why it doesn't make sense because you're giving your wrestlers way too much freedom, creative freedom, to do absolutely whatever they want, and it doesn't make sense. WWE has a structure. They have a line that they want everybody to follow. This is your character. This time I want you to portray that character. You're going to lose this title in 6 months. And during that time, you're going to portray this character exactly how we say you're going to portray it. And that's one of the reasons that Mercedes had an issue because she wanted to control the character and stuff. And it's like you didn't create Sasha Banks. WWE created Sasha Banks. You played a character, and that character had made you famous. And now, because you could not take that character with you to AEW, you had to start over. But you don't have that guidance to build Mercedes Monet the same way Sasha Banks was built. You're doing it all by yourself. It's like giving a 2-year-old a 3-course meal and trusting that they're not going to make a mess.
Mhm.
You can't give we all have a gift, we all have a talent, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. The minute we know that, the better off we'll be.
Amen.
I was never, like I might write about WWE, AEW, TNA, whatever. That's my strength. My weaknesses is covering New Japan, Stardom, Wow, because I'm not familiar with them. And I'm not going to consider myself an expert in that because those are
Right.
still promotions that I'm still learning. Um, but you have a lot of these wrestlers that feel like that they could do everything across the board. And that's the issue with Tony. He's not really trying to reel them in. His way of reeling them in is, oh, you want to go to WWE? Well, you was out for 8 months on an injury. So I'm gonna tack them 8 months to your
Oh my
contract.
God.
That's his way of reeling his wrestlers in by keeping them stagnant in contracts. Or you have wrestlers who are not injured, but you just keep them off of TV for whatever
Starks.
reason. And then they have to go and do these interviews and tell people, I'm not injured. I can wrestle. they just won't let me wrestle. That's his
Ricky
way
stuff.
of reeling his wrestlers in. So, Tony, he knows how to be a hard ass when he wants to, but at the same time, you're still getting bullied by your wrestlers because they're telling you how to run your company,
which is stupid.
which is,
Yeah.
and I really, really, really wish Cody would tell us the real reason why you left AEW.
I think he
Because
gonna take that. I think he gonna either have to be far gone,
He's not.
retired,
He's not. He's not going to sell his friends. He's not going to sell his
or
friends down the river.
nah,
Um,
as far as we
but
know, Vince just really wanted him to come, and he was like,
no,
"Okay, Vince, I'll be there." But there is something, something. There was a deal breaker. There was something that he just really, really didn't like. The direction of the
yeah,
company. I don't know what it is, but it was enough for him to
Cody.
just leave everything behind. And he's too
Cody.
loyal. But I wish he
Yeah,
would
Cody
stay.
kind of alluded. He kind of alluded to it when he was like, we had different visions, and he saw the writings on the wall, and it was tough for me. It was tough for me to go. That's why him and Brandy out of nowhere just quit, and we are like, "Hey, what the hell's going on?" So he kind of, on his return, he kind of alluded there was the vision that they were having was not the vision he had when he agreed to start AEW. So
Yeah.
I think now we probably, if we really look into it, we're seeing those visions that Cody was not, you know,
But
wanting
the
to be
funny
around.
thing about it is, Cody alluded to it. CM Punk told us what it is. And now you
Mm-hmm.
have John, your AEW heavyweight champion, who is doing interviews. And he's even telling us, and he's still in the company, and he's telling us what the issue is. There's
Yeah,
no type of control backstage. And, I've always said it just doesn't look right to have a current wrestler shoot your company while still being in the company. And it definitely don't look good for your current heavyweight champion to shoot the company. But at the same time, it's like, it's John. You're not going to
yeah.
tell John nothing, right? You're not going to go against John.
He has control. He has creative control over his character, and he's also buried the company in promos on AEW television. So,
He has.
um, Minx, I'd like to get your comments on this while we're still on this topic about what Megan was saying about everything that's going on with AEW. You have any more you'd like to add before we move on from it?
Not even. I'm getting tired. And I have no
Yeah.
thoughts.
All right. Well,
I
I
thought,
have a question for every. Oh, John, you got one?
and it piggybacks with everything all y'all have said on this topic. It starts with Ring of Honor. Like, how is Ring of Honor not on TV? Why is there an honor club for Ring? Why is there a paid subscription for Ring of Honor? It started when they dropped the
Yeah.
ball on the CW deal. They really had the
Right.
they should be on the CW and not NXT. And Sean and Triple H saw, something that put them on local television. Let's put these gets on local television. CW is on a local channel, local LA affiliate out here for here in Channel 5. There's no Channel 5, KTLA. Um, they dropped the ball there. And like y'all bring up all the talent, y'all name all the talent that AEW has between the women's division of AEW and Ring of Honor. Why is Athena not on AEW now? It's been long enough. She surpassed Samoa Joe as the longest reigning champion in Ring of Honor history. Why is she still on online? What? I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of Queen Aminata. Give her this push. Red Velvet. Finally, I'm glad she finally got some gold around her. You brought up Billy Starks, and obviously Kiera Hogan and Diamantes and we're talking about Moxley. I'm still trying to figure out what is the end game for Marina Shafir with this whole angle. Because we're not putting you're not taking the belt off Mariah May. You clearly showing you're not willing to take the belts off Mercedes. You're not taking the belt off Athena. You ain't taking the belt off Red Velvet. So besides trying to make her into 2024 China, what is going to be the end game for her? And what's the end game for all these women who aren't Britt Baker, who aren't Mercedes Moné, who aren't Tony Storm, who aren't champions, who aren't getting used properly? Harley, you said Harley Cameron. That's a great example. I've heard they're using her like Chelsea Green. What's going to happen now with Thunder Rosa? They got all these. And they don't know how to use it. And Trell said, you talk about Tony Khan, he's using that NFL mind state because his dad owns the Jaguars, where NFL owners, they feel like they're above the law. It's my way or the highway. You can't. They don't got. They keep a bunch of yes men around them instead of just finding people who can do their job. Why do you think it's been a little bit quiet on those Shane rumors? Real quiet on those Shane rumors lately. But
That's true.
I hate to see these women just being stagnant, because we've seen it in WWE where they've had a plethora of women be stagnant. And on the whole women's show thing, we're so far. I mean, how long has it been since Evolution? Almost 5 years now, 6 years now, and we're talking about let's get another one of them first before we can talk about having a women's weekly show. And just so Mercedes can poke her chest out and say, "Look what I did for this division," just like she tried to just like she claimed she was putting over Stephanie out for it. I'm done.
That's true.
All right. One last question for everyone. I think Migs kind of answered it a long time ago, but I'm gonna ask everyone anyway. Between NXT, WWE's main roster, TNA, and AEW, which brand has pound for pound, without question, the best women's roster in America, in North America? Meeks, I'm gonna start with you. Just in case people who are listening now didn't hear you, who's your pick for the best roster in North America?
I'm still gonna go with NXT. NXT is on fire right now with the women's roster. I mean, you can't even deny it. Shawn Michaels really does take care of the female talent over there. Like they got some good talent down there. It's like Megan said, it's mostly female. They're taken care of. They're really doing it at NXT. Like I don't care what nobody says. I mean, Raw, not really. SmackDown got some talent, but who's on fire right now is really NXT.
Yeah, and because TNA's best, the catalyst for TNA is pretty much making the transition to WWE at the beginning of the year in the Juggernaut Jordan Grace. So with her departure, it's curious to see how TNA is going to pan out, because we already know once the Juggernaut officially signs pen and paper with the brand, that she's going to turn waves. Megan, you agree? NXT pound for pound best women's division?
Yeah. I mean, definitely appreciate the inclusion with the TNA women. I think just having that partnership between NXT and TNA has benefited both brands, both companies. The women's division on the main roster is just as great, but if I'm going for storylines, matches, just their overall presentation, I would definitely say NXT.
Yeah, I agree. They're pretty much carrying. They're the backbone of the NXT brand right now, because the men, they don't, outside of Trick Williams, they really don't have anyone since Carmelo's gone, Braun Breaker's gone, Bronson Reed's gone.
Yeah.
DIY, they're gone. Their main hitters are already on the main rosters. So the fact that, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, the women have been killing it. Jada Parker has been on fire. She's
Jada
the
Yeah.
future of
Parker.
that brand. Lola Vice has been killing it. Wendy Chu, she's living her best life going both brands at the moment. Tatum Paxley, look at Fallon Henley. I mean, she's the
Yeah.
women's North American champion now. So it's like her progress in the division. So yeah, I agree, Sean. It's I mean,
Sugar
it
daddy.
all started with, in his eyes, it all started with Sonny. So he knows how to pick these
Whoa.
talents. He knows. Hey, I said it. It's a lot of sunny days in NXT.
Oh wow, wow, you making wild in the night.
But if you look at it, I mean, he's finding these women, and they're not ugly. They're not trash women. I mean, look at the roster, and then look at the roster that's coming in off the NIL deals. He's already setting up the future. I mean, and we still got Corey J. She's coming along well. So it's like they're already
Yeah.
building the new four horsewomen of NXT who's going to carry, the main roster to new heights um, for years to come. And Roxanne Perez and Corey J, Stephanie Vaquer. You see how Julia's being booked. She's like the second coming of Asuka. So the NXT roster can go toe to toe with AEW. AEW has more women, but I agree. It's just when you look at it pound for pound, and the most exciting division, it's definitely NXT. And you add Jordan Grace in there, you add Zarya in there. It's like you're getting that old black and gold era of NXT with a new twist on it. So it's awesome. So we usually close this out with a special segment, and I'm gonna turn it over to John because I'm pretty sure you guys never had this type of segment in any other podcast you guys been on. So I'm gonna let John introduce you to this segment and go from there. Take it away, John.
Final segment of our show. We do this. It started on the Sports4U on the regular Sports4U podcast we do every Tuesday and Friday, and now we brought over to Sports4U Wrestling. It's a segment called Calling Out Names. It's our boy Uncle Dolomite's favorite segment. Shout out to Too Much Game. It's a segment that's often imitated, it's never duplicated. Sometimes people say stuff in the world, and it started off as in the sports as a sports segment where people were saying stuff in sports or doing stuff in sports we just didn't agree with. So now we bring it over to Sports4U Wrestling. There's people who are saying stuff in pro wrestling, who are doing stuff in pro wrestling. They just you don't agree with, and they need to be called out about it. So this time we're calling out the names. So my first calling out names is for our fellow friends and family in the IWC. We don't know yet who the fifth member is. So you're already seeing people already, and I'm talking about the bloodline war games. Everybody's already up in getting their panties in a wad because they're thinking it's Cody, that Cody's the fifth member. We don't know yet. You go read the spoilers, we don't know yet. And if it was Cody, if it is Cody, I wouldn't want Cody in this match because I think him and Kevin Owens deserve the spotlight to themselves. If it is Cody, I'll just talk about I'm gonna hate Triple H for life and this and that. Look, he's very polarizing as a champion. I get it, but let's be real. If it's Cody, it's because it's some dialect between The Rock and Roman and the WWE and the WWE Championship and everything, Mania and finishing the story and Final Boss and this and that. But we don't know yet. So let's stop putting the cart before the horse. Let's wait and see who the fifth member is. But let's not saying that, making it be the end of the world that has to be Cody. I hate it. I'm gonna hate WWE. They always look it wrong. Cody don't keep Cody away from the bloodline. That's not. You're sounding like the Cody Crybabies just now. You're being. Now you sound way worse. Let's wait. Please, let's wait. And that's my calling out names. Let's wait till we see what the number is. It's just assuming and already getting ourselves mad for nothing.
Right. And that's how calling out names works. So Megan, do you have anyone maybe or person who has gives out bad sources, or maybe a wrestler or maybe a promoter who's you're like, I can't wait to talk about this moron.
Okay. I am calling out Dave Melzer.
Oh boy.
I heard that name a lot.
Dave Melzer has been doing this for a long time. He's been doing this since the 70s. So he has seen a lot of things, been front row of a lot of the ups and downs in the wrestling industry. But right now, his sources, his information has not been up to par. I think Dave, as well as the other gentleman, his name is
Ross
Jim
Sapp?
Cornette.
Oh, that
Mr.
one.
Cornette.
Oh, he's
I
regular.
think you two both need to go. I think this is now a time for the younger generation, those that understand how tea is supposed to be spilled. And I think their ship has sailed. I think the time for them to relay wrestling information has passed. Uh, I'm just, frankly, I'm tired. I'm
Excuse me.
tired. Dave shares a lot of things that is eventually proven not to be true, whether it's by other wrestling news publications or even the wrestlers themselves, which I think is very embarrassing when you have a wrestler to come out and pretty much call your T BS. So
Dwayne.
that's what I'm calling, of all people. Um, but that's who I would definitely call out in this interview. I have no personal qualms against Dave Melzer, as I mentioned on my podcast. He has paved the way for us to even talk about wrestling today. But you know, um, it's time for Dave to hang it up, move on, find you something safe to do, because this ain't it.
I heard that. Amen to that, my sister. Mix, do you have anyone you want to call out? Or if you want to give props to someone, we also have, we also give shout outs as well. So it doesn't always have to be calling out names. If you got someone to, give a shout out, or maybe both.
I got a few.
Go ahead.
Take your time.
Kevin Owens, you ain't shit for doing Randy Orton like that. First of all, I'm just saying. Liv Morgan, the only way you're holding titles is because of interference. Hang it up. Get out of there. Give it to Raquel. Pass it down. Take it and pass it.
Pew. Pew.
WWE, stop stealing people's shit. Every time Holy Shit gives y'all a damn idea, it's on TV within the next week.
Cut up a check.
Cut us a check. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Also,
Yeah, you're supposed to be family now for life.
Yep, because we know we're old checks too.
So also, dang, I know I had another one. Stop doing what's that guy's name? The one who's always losing to Andrade, Carmelo Hayes. Stop doing Carmelo Hayes like that. You got him losing. You got him losing like a loser, and he's like, I am him. No, you're not, bro. You're always losing. But y'all doing him like Swerve. Y'all gonna lose him. Y'all dropping the ball. Get it together. Get it together, WWE. Damn. Okay, I'm done.
By the way,
I think
that was another one we got wrong at Crown Jewel. We all thought Melo was bringing the belt back to the city. We all thought Melo was bringing that thing back to the States.
he will.
Nothing against LA because I'm a big LA Knight fan, but I thought Melo was building a lot of momentum. And I was and I think his day's coming soon, but he'll be the guy that takes the belt from LA Knight. But I was kind of shocked that he didn't take the belt from him in Saudi. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, it's we got to look at it as when we were impatient for LA Knight to win, we we wanted it right then and there, and it's like we've been waiting, we're waiting, we're like, man, we got this guy losing, he's constantly losing, and out of nowhere, boom, LA Knight United States champion. It's the same. I believe it's the same way with Melo, because on these dark matches behind the scenes, he's having championship matches with Cody Rhodes. His first night on the job was with Cody Rhodes. So, and instead of having this man in catering, we got the best of 7 series, him and Andrade, which, in my opinion, have put on banger matches every time they got in the ring together. And the matches they get on television at least goes 15 to 20 minutes. So they're giving these guys ample amount of time. And he's the first #1 draft pick for a reason. They didn't have him there just for him to be a dud. So I think eventually he will be the one to beat LA Knight for that championship, or somehow, some way, be the one end of the year with the United States title. It's one of those long-term, gotta be patient type of bookings. And I know it's 2/24. We ain't got time to wait. But sometimes once it happens, it's gonna be like that finally. But we're gonna enjoy Melo's run as United States champion. LA Knight's time will come. He will lose. He's done all right with the championship. It's good to see him with a title, but now it's gonna be the next man up, and I think Melo will be the next man up, and he's gonna call up Miinx, and he's gonna be like, "I am him." he's gonna be like, "I am him." And that pretty much, I don't have anyone to call on names at all. I'm just gonna shout out Solo, because despite certain people in the community that says that the man isn't ready, the man spent 2 years under Roman Reigns. This man started his career in NXT. He knows how to work a mic. Dude is naturally funny. He's ready for the main event scene. And I don't know why people are complaining that he pinned Roman Reigns. He's supposed to beat Roman Reigns. If you're the new tribal chief, you got to beat the old tribal chief. Miinx, what's up?
I don't mind Solo. I mind that he looks like a knockoff version of Suge Knight.
Yeah.
The suit's not working for you, Miinx. Is it the suit or is it the shoes?
It's the suit. He running the bloodline like Death Row in the 90s. He needs to go somewhere, I'm telling you.
Oh man, Death Row in the 90s. That is something.
The funny part about it is, if you ask MVP would tell you that whole Bloodline 2.0 is the Hurt business.
That's exactly why I was watching the interview before the show started. I'm gonna go back and watch it. Renee did the sit down with the Hurt Syndicate, and Bobby was telling parts. I'm just giving a sample part. How when MVP came back, we all know the story. He came back to the Royal Rumble in 2020 because his son never got to see him wrestle. So when he was backstage with Bobby and Shelton at the time, and Bobby had this idea where, what if we can get a character who's like Suge Knight, Don King, and The Rock from Players, and put them all in one. And thought about it, you got MVP. You got MVP art, and MVP came with, and that's where MVP the manager kind of came through. And I haven't watched the rest of the interview, but You think about MVP coming out with the cane, that's a Suge move. Promote his promotions, his talk, his gift of gab, that's Don King. And then Bobby said the whole Hurt Business came from his old boxing trainer. He always used to wear a shirt that said Hurt Business. And he wanted always to have that to be a faction. And go figure. It's crazy.
I mean,
they're all there and said he's losing the West League and NXT.
I mean, to piggyback off of that, the majority of her business failure was under Vince McMahon. Because in the beginning, the Hurt Business was booming. I mean, Bobby was the United States champion. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric, they were the tag team champs. And then for some odd reason, to this day, I would never understand, they broke that group up. Which I thought was a dumb move. They could have kept the group around a little bit longer to the point to where Bobby wins the WWE Championship. Then it would have been whole. Because by the time the Bloodline came around and they got the Hurt Business 2.0, I'm sorry. I'm all about the culture. I'm all about the Hurt Business. I want them to succeed. But there is no way that anyone was dethroning the Bloodline. They was selling out the merch. Roman Reigns was at the top of his game, making history as the longest reigning champion in the modern day era. The Usos, longest reigning tag team champions in the modern day era. There was no group that was gonna mess that up. So it was just that when the new Hurt Business came, it was just the right team, wrong time, because they wasn't beating the Bloodline. Even if they had a feud, eventually the Hurt Business would have, or the Pride, if you will, would have fell victim to the Bloodline, because the Bloodline was the stable that was pretty much keeping WWE afloat as far as storyline goes. Everyone was buying into the chapter. Me and John went to Wale Mania last year, and the first half of that show, the whole theme was about the Bloodline. And man, the whole crowd was rocking with the Bloodline. That was the hottest act in WWE since, I would say, DX of the Attitude Era. So I understand where MVP is coming from as far as, how they were booked, because when Vince was there, Bobby was booked a lot. He's the the champion, the big dog, but Triple H is the one that wants to build for the future, and unfortunately, they don't fit the mold as the future. So I get what you were saying, but for him to spark that whole controversy of black representation, that was total BS on that, because we've had this past PLE, we have 4 black women in a championship match. We had Carmelo Hayes in a triple threat match. So that pretty much debunked all of that. You bringing in, against my wishes, you brought in Sexy Red. I'm not getting into that.
Oh, that was Shawn. That wasn't Triple H. That was Shawn.
But it's still WWE though. That's what I'm saying.
But then you have the Street Profits, where you have Montez online voicing his grief, his frustration. I mean, you didn't have this man, this tag team in tag team title matches over and over and over again. And like I said, I have no issues against Motor City Machine Guns, but for them to come and just take the belt,
it wasn't even supposed to be Motor City Machine Guns. It was supposed to be the Lucha Brothers, but you can blame Tony Khan for that.
You're not going there. Don't get Shrell upset. Don't get yourself upset.
But I somewhat feel sorry for Montez, but at the same time, I don't, because as much as he voices his frustrations, he's also one of the reasons why he's not being pushed more, because they got this man built for a solo run. But he said in multiple interviews he's even said it in the reality show he had with Bianca that he's torn between going solo because he doesn't want to leave Dawkins behind.
Because
And
he knows what's going to happen. He knows
yeah, I
what's going
mean,
to
it's
happen.
clear
I
that
mean,
Montez is a star, and sometimes it's a business. You have to eventually outgrow. When it came to the Rockers, we all saw Shawn Michaels as the bigger star than Jannetty. Look how Shawn Michaels' career turned out after that. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Out of those two, you can argue who was the bigger star, but look what happened with Triple H's career when he broke away from Shawn Michaels.
Right.
So it's like Booker T and his brother. Booker T was a bigger star than Stevie Ray. Look what happened to Booker T's career. You can't be in a tag team forever.
That's right.
Look at the Usos. Jay was the star of that group, and now he's main event. The New Day, it's a revolving door of those guys. 2 of the 3 are, former WWE champions, and now Xavier Woods is finally getting his move. So you can't be. I've said this many times. The Street Profits has ran its course as a tag team. Every other tag team is essentially broken up. So unfortunately, yes, Dawkins will be left in the dust, but that's how life goes. You have to, sink or swim and step up. And Montez is like he's voicing his frustrations, but at the same time, all you gotta do is be like, all right, I'm ready. Because if the company didn't think he was ready, he never would have had that main event match with Roman Reigns a few years ago.
Talk about it.
So if you're gonna voice your frustrations, make sure it's because you're not getting a solo push. They want to push you, but the longer you hesitate, eventually they're gonna be like, all right, this kid doesn't want it. And then they move on, and then you're stuck. So that's how I see the whole Montez situation. Before we get out, Minx, you have any closing arguments about Montez and his frustrations?
I gave up on the Street Profits.
Oh, there you go. there you go. It's the right on the wall. Either Montez step up and move on, or just
Yeah.
just
And
keep
then
the.
and to say Friday night is championship or bust, we know what that means in sports. To say that Friday night is championship or bust makes me think, man, we better be prepared to see what we're talking about actually come to fruition. Because they're not beating they're not beating the guns. And you're gonna have the Street Profits with that sad look on their face, like where we go from here. And people are gonna start booing if Tez don't take that shot at Dawkins.
Dawkins better
that
get
might
his
be
ass whooped.
that might be the way it plays out.
It
That
has
might
to.
be exactly the way that it plays out. I mean, that's how I felt it's going to happen between Bianca and Jade. I feel like when they lose the titles, someone is going to take the blame for it. Um, Now, when they first lost the title, neither one was pinned, but I don't know. Bianca kind of gave a look like, "Damn, girl, you couldn't get into the ring fast enough." Like it kind of looked like she was. So Bianca don't necessarily lose, and to be in a tag team, now it's like, well, I don't have to be pinned to lose the
Right.
title. So I do feel like that's another story, But because we already been on for a while. But yeah, maybe that's what is bound to happen. Maybe that is what he's hinting at. It'd be like a whole private party thing. If we lose, we break up, type of thing. You know, Private party. They didn't lose; they got the titles, but that might be what happens with the Street Profits.
Yeah. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 7 of Sports4U Wrestling Podcast. Again, ladies, thank you for pulling up and helping us dissect the women's division. Because again, there's no way we could have done this without a woman's touch, a woman's opinion, and a woman's word. And you guys definitely definitely brought it. Minx, let the world know who you are, what podcast you come from, and where they can find you on social media.
Minx Mayhem. You can find me on Minx and the Mayhem, two eyes. I podcast with the Holy Shit podcast on Mondays and Fridays. We go live from YouTube, TikTok, and I think IG.
All right, Megan, let the world know who you are, because I'm pretty sure they love to hear both of you guys give your takes, and they probably want to, see what you guys got lining up. So, Megan, let us know what you got going on, the crew you rocking with, and your
Yes.
socials.
I'm a podcast host for Wrestling Republic Sunday Night Spotlight. That's every Sunday at 5 p.m. on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel. This week we have a special interview, so it won't be airing on Sunday. It will be airing on Friday. That's with Ethan Allen of Progress Wrestling. Um, but what you can expect is my fifth episode of If I May Speak Candidly on my YouTube channel of the same name. And I like to say I'm still a writer for Body Slam. I haven't written anything in a while, but there's a lot of things that has been coming up. So more than likely, I will be uh, updating my portfolio with Body Slam within the next couple of weeks. So just look out for me on my socials.
All right, and of course, Big John over there. For the people who are new to the channel, John, let them know, your main show, your main crew, and where they can find you.
Of course, John Watson, host of Sports4U podcast, every Tuesdays and Fridays, YouTube, X, Facebook, 9:45 Eastern, 6:45 Pacific. We go live, myself, my partners, Mark and Nick Freeze. Of course, Trails is a regular contributor to the show. And obviously, we're here every Wednesday. Friday night, we're back at it. We're special start time, 5 p.m., because we're going to have a live watch along for the Mike Tyson Jake Paul event. So we'll be on live at 5 when the undercard start, including the match with Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Part 2, which is the co-main event for Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. We're at it every Tuesday and Friday talking sports. West Coast guys giving you national sports opinions. The number one sports podcast in the world is Sports4U. That was for you, man, because that tweet you had the other day about confidence. That tweet you had about confidence. So, and thank y'all again. Shout out again to Meg. Shout out to Miinx, host podcast. Shout out to Abe. I saw the whole crew, Wrestle Republic, Trail. It was just a good night. It was just a good night tonight, and we wanted to make history, and I feel like we did. And y'all ladies really helped us do that.
Thank you.
Yes, they did, and this pretty much helped us bring in, Women's Week Part 1. Just wait to what we got in store for next week. We got some more ladies coming in. More will be announced later on within the week. But for now, Miinx, Megan, you girls are always more than welcome to pop in at any time if you want to be a guest to talk wrestling at any given time. And if you guys need anything from us, hit us up on our separate socials or the Sports4U Wrestling page itself. So on behalf of John,
putting out the invite now. You ladies are welcome to join our watch alongs.
Yeah.
As long as you want, we'll be doing one for Survivor Series and probably for Deadline. So you ladies are more than welcome to come to any of our watch alongs to watch the PLEs with us and give some more takes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Definitely. So with that being said, on behalf of myself, John, Megan, Miinx, this has been Sports4U Wrestling. And we don't just do this for our entertainment. We do it for everyone. We do it for all the other podcasters out there. And definitely, for sure, we do it for hashtag for the brand. And with that being said, we'll see y'all next week. See ya.